Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today we'll be doing an off-season plan for the New Orleans Saints. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell notified when I post next. Let's get into this video. So as of right now, the New Orleans Saints have not hired a new head coach. They're the only team in the NFL to not have a head coach yet. It is February 2nd, and we still don't know who their head coach is. So I was going to try and postpone this video as long as possible. I have a video in the works still, waiting for the Saints to hire their head coach, of me ranking and grading all the offseason moves at the coaching position, and I'm still waiting for them to drop that so I can finish that video and get it out to you guys. But let's just talk about the New Orleans Saints. Again, no head coach, so we're going to presume that if you're just trying to fix a team, that's what we're going to do. So, Saints offseason plan. First, we're going to go through our cuts and or trades. They are negative $52 million in the cap. That is obviously the worst in the NFL by far. I think the Browns are number 2 at negative 26. So literally double the amount that the Browns are negative, the Saints are negative. So first, what we're going to do is be trading Derek Carr. Derek Carr, last year before injury, had 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Was having a great season before not only his own injuries mounted, but injuries around him mounted, right? He had Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, I think Juwan Johnson missed time, Alvin Kamara missed time, and then Derek Carr eventually got hurt. So I don't see a new head coach keeping him. He signed for Dennis Allen because Dennis Allen was his former head coach when he was in Las Vegas. So I think that's why he signed with the Saints. So Dennis Allen is obviously no longer here. So I do see him getting traded and asking for a trade wherever he goes. He has good deep ball accuracy and it's good deep ball distance as well. I think he will be wanting a lot of QB vacant rooms. And what I think about doing is I'm going to trade him to the Seattle Seahawks for their 3rd round pick this year, number 82 overall. So obviously Seattle, they have Geno Smith, but I do think Geno Smith, they've tried it. They've tried to make it work. It hasn't really gotten them far into the playoffs. I do think Derek Carr is better than Geno Smith, but Geno Smith is still a good player. I think, Geno Smith wants a new contract. He has 1 year remaining with no guaranteed money. There's teams, I think there's going to be a quarterback shifting of a lot of these teams where they may even just trade quarterback straight up, right? Like Derek Carr is gonna go to Seattle. Maybe Geno Smith goes to the Browns or back to the Saints. I just think Geno Smith is gonna get moved out of Seattle. So, Pete Carroll's no longer there. None of his coordinators are there that wanted him. No one who was originally in Seattle when he signed there is there in power anymore, outside of the GM John Schneider. So I do see the coaching staff moving on from him, and maybe they see Derek Carr as an upgrade because he has a bigger arm, better accuracy downfield. Even though I do think Geno Smith is right below Derek Carr, I do think there is at least a tiny, small gap between them. So they trade Geno Smith, whatever pick they can get. They then trade number 82 overall for Derek Carr. Saves $40 million against the Saints cap. So you're now, just teetering above that positive line. But we trade him for a 3rd round pick. Next, I am going to be cutting Taysom Hill. I do not care about stats. I know I'm going to read his stats. I don't care. Get him off the team. Get him off the team. He's very athletic. Yes, he is very athletic, but I don't see a world where he returns, right? No matter what, I think Taysom Hill is going to be gone. Even if Derek Carr stays, Taysom Hill is going to be gone. No team in the NFL, their coaching staff is in love with a player more than the Saints. Taysom Hill got a 4-year, $60 million contract a year or two ago. No one in the NFL that's a coach would have kept Taysom Hill and signed him that extension. So I do think whatever head coach does come in, Taysom Hill's going to be one of the first guys out and saves you $10 million for a 35-year-old guy. He's gone. He is gone. Next, we have Demario Davis. Last year had 89 tackles, 2 sacks, and 48 run stops. Demario Davis doesn't run into time. Time runs from Demario Davis. This dude is still good. He can still start in every single NFL team. His contract does void this year. So he might retire this offseason so the contract will void, and the $4 million that you get from cutting him just goes back to your cap space because he might retire. But, if he doesn't retire, I don't see any trades on the table. I don't see anyone trading for a 36-year-old linebacker. Even though he's playing very well, you're not going to get real value back from him. So I would rather just cut him, get $4 million back in the cap space. That's willing enough to go with a trade. I think as a Saints organization, we need to move on from aged vets and go young. Especially if you're going with a new head coach. What I'm hearing is that more than likely it's going to be a first-time head coach. So I don't think they're going to have a lot of veterans. They're going to go really young and start rebuilding this team from the ground up. So I think Demario Davis will be another cap cut of $4 million to where another team in the NFL, maybe they would have traded a 7th round pick for him, but it's one of those just get rid of the money. The 7th round pick isn't worth it. So Demario Davis, cut him for $4 million. Next, we have Cam Jordan. I am going to be trading Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan had 21 tackles, 4 sacks, 21 run stops, and 28 pressures. He's old, but he's still reliable. He's a reliable pass rusher. He's a very respected player in the NFL. If I'm not mistaken, he's won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. I believe he's one of the recipients of that. But he's just old and not reliable, and not as reliable as he used to be. And the Saints need a premier #1 pass rusher. That's not Cam Jordan anymore. He makes a lot of money. Lots of Super Bowl teams need pass rushing help. You can definitely get a pick back for Cam Jordan. So what I did was the Baltimore Ravens trade for Cam Jordan. The Baltimore gets Cam Jordan and a 2025 6th-round pick, number 205. And the Saints get a 4th-round pick, number 127, and a 5th-round pick, number 183. So it's basically you get a 4th-round pick for Cam Jordan, and you trade up from 205 to 183. You trade about 20 picks, plus you get a pick for Cam Jordan. That's not awful value. You know, again, he's 36 years old. This will probably be his last year in the NFL if he doesn't retire this offseason. Next year will be the last year in the NFL. Let him go and chase for a ring. Try and get something in Baltimore. You know, Baltimore needs another pass rusher to help that secondary out, because their secondary is not the worst in the world, but there's no constant pressure getting to the quarterback. So Cam Jordan, even if it's just, 30 snaps, 35 snaps a game out of the 60 that you get on defense, he still can provide you something. And I think Cam Jordan in Baltimore would be very scary. Next, we have Tyrann Mathieu is going to be getting cut. Tyrann Mathieu last year had 54 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 9 run stops. He is still an NFL roster guy, but he's not the same honey badger he used to be. I watched a couple of games, so I'm like, oh, he's lost some speed, right? He's lost some tenacity and athleticism that he had when he was on the Chiefs in the first year of the Saints. He's definitely on the decline. I don't see a team trade any pick for him, but I do see him getting picked up, very quickly after getting cut. You move on to rookies and younger guys in free agency. I just think that's what they need to do. Get rid of these older guys on bigger contracts. This marks an end of an era in New Orleans. You move on from Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Derek Carr, guys that are older and just stuck in the contract. So you get more versatility and roster flexibility from moving on from these guys. You cut Tyrann Mathieu, save $6.25 million against the cap. You're now very positive. Like, you're about positive in the NFL cap space. And then you do these restructures where Eric McCoy, your offensive guard, I think McCoy's actually the center. He's playing very well, so we're going to make sure he stays on the team for a few more years. Saves $6.6 million in the cap. Cesar Ruiz, your guard, he's very good as well. Restructure him for 6.3. And then Carl Granderson, you just paid a contract to last year, and there's no way to cut your way out of that contract. I don't think he's good enough to get a draft pick out of anywhere. So you're just going to restructure him. He has 2 more years left on the deal, so you're going to restructure him so next year he has a bigger cap hit. But you restructure $5 million into this year. You save $18.5 million. You go in and positive 52. So we went from negative 56 to positive 52, and I want to show you over the next 3 years what I was able to do. In 2026, they were negative 10 million. In 2027, they were, I think, at 180 was their cap space. I was able to make it positive 52, positive 74, positive 231. So not only did I save money this year to make moves by opening up future roster flexibility, future cap movability, and that was my goal. So going into re-signings, there is only one guy I wanted to re-sign, and that's Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo had 47 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 10 run stops this past year. He's a young boundary corner coming off his rookie contract. He's had ups and downs in his career. This past season was definitely a down in his career, but this year can come, play free with no expectations, right? You're playing with a young quarterback, whether it's going to be Spencer Rattler, a draft pick, or a free agent. Doesn't matter. You're not going to win this year coming up. So Paulson Adebo can come back for $4 million. Ball is, just say, hey, play free. Play Paulson Adebo football at cornerback. And if he plays really well, you let him go sign somewhere else. You get a comp pick. Or if he doesn't play well, it's only $4 million you wasted. Or if he plays good enough to where you want to sign to an extension, you can extend him to something bigger next year. So, but I do like the Alontae Taylor, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Paulson Adebo trio. So they gave him a 1 year, $4 million, fully guaranteed it. Like, you're going to be on the roster. That's what I was trying to say. He's going to be on the roster. That's the promise I would make. But it's one of those, it's only a 1 year obligation. If it doesn't work out, you can move on. If it does work out, you get a comp pick or you sign to an extension. But I like Paulson Adebo a lot. Next, going into free agency, we're at positive $49 million. So we got some money to work with. So the first sign I'm going to be doing is Jeremy Chin. So Jeremy Chin, great safety, 81 tackles, 1 interception, 35 run stops, and 3 pass breakups. He had a great rebound season in Washington. He was having a great career up until Edger Olivero was the defensive coordinator for the Panthers. He was misused in a 3-4 scheme under Edger Olivero in 2023, massively tanked his stock because he was playing out of position. He was playing a scheme that he wasn't made for. He is a 4-3 safety, not a 3-4 safety, right? He's great in the run game and active in the pass game. Definitely more of a box linebacker safety hybrid. But he's a new chess piece for the new defensive coordinator, whoever that may be. I signed him to a 4-year, $60 million deal, $43 million guaranteed. That is 72%. And again, after the first 2 years, it's a very cuttable deal. So the first 2 years, he gets $27 million. And after that, you can save $7 million and then $11 million in the cap if you do cut him. So it's basically a two-year deal where after that, you can get out of it if you need to. So Jeremy Chin having a great year in Washington. Maybe he just re-signs in Washington and you don't get him. That's also a possibility. Next, we have Devin Bush at linebacker. Devin Bush got 50 tackles, 1 sack, and 24 run stops. He was not meant to start in Cleveland because, again, I couldn't find a good picture of him in Cleveland. But he was a 1-year flyer in Cleveland. But due to injuries to JOK, due to injuries to other guys in that room, Devin Bush got the start towards the end of the season. And he played great. He was a great run defender. He was amazing, actually, in the run game. 24 run stops in, like, 5 or 6 games. That's what he got. Like, it was only, like, the last half of the season he actually played, and he played amazing. Get a good run defender for cheap. He definitely rebounded his value. So he gave him a 2-year, $9 million deal, $6.5 million guaranteed. That is 72% guaranteed. And again, if after 1 year it doesn't work out, you can cut him, save $2.5 million in the cap. But it's one of those, like, hey, let's take, it's not really a flyer when you give him a 2-year, 75% guaranteed deal, but it's one of those, you played great with Cleveland this year. We know you're a good run defender. Let's put you in a place to succeed. And this could be your Demario Davis placement, right? Demario Davis was a great run defender last year. Devin Bush can come in and replace that. Next, we have Austin Corbett at guard. Last year with the Panthers, he had 63 PFF grade, 67 pass blocking grade, a 60 run blocking grade. He's still a solid veteran guard / center, right? He can come in and play either of those positions. He's kind of bounced around the NFL playing both of those positions the last couple of years. He only allowed 1 sack and 3 pressures all year for Bryce Young. He slots into Lucas Patrick's left guard duty. So whether he does start day one or he's just a really good backup, that could be discussed as well. But when you sign him, it's the idea of he can start. It shores up your starting 5 of the offensive line for at minimum this year. You give him a 2-year, $6 million deal. Oh, sorry, that's a 2-year, $8.5 million deal. 6.25 guaranteed. That's pretty good for Austin Corbett. Again, he comes in. At worst, you have a really good backup. At best, he starts day one for you. That's a really good deal for Austin Corbett. Next, we have Zach Wilson. This will be the final signing of the offseason for the Saints. Zach Wilson, no stats, obviously, because Bo Nix came in and never let go of the starting job. He sat bench behind Bo Nix all year. Hopefully, the year under Sean Payton taught him something. From the room that I saw, him, Bo Nix, and I think it was Jarrett Stidham was the other quarterback. I may be mistaken. But the 3 quarterbacks are all good friends. I hope Sean Payton really did teach Zach Wilson a lot. And Mickey Loomis gets his Payton drug, right? Mickey Loomis loves Sean Payton tree. Zach Wilson now counts as a Payton tree. So you can come in and compete with Spencer Rattler for the starting job and maybe a rookie. We'll see in the draft. Maybe they draft someone. So at minimum, you sign Zach Wilson to compete with Spencer Rattler for the starting job. You give him a 1-year, $4.5 million guaranteed contract. He comes in. At worst, as your quarterback 2, and you have a competent quarterback 2. Or at best, he's your starter. And you see what you got in him, right? He could be a franchise guy. We don't know. But going to the draft, we're at positive $27 million. I will say there's a lot of draft picks in this draft class I did. So I'd say about $15 to $16 million you don't want to touch for your draft picks. So about $10 million left in the cap space you could do. Maybe grab another young wide receiver. Maybe grab another safety or a corner. But whatever you want to do with that $10 million, go ahead. But positive $27 million going to the draft, that's something different that the Saints have never been able to say. Here's my draft, though. So at number 9, I'm going to be grabbing Emeka Egbuka. I think the Saints need another wide receiver. And not only another wide receiver, they could really use a power slot receiver from this class. He's the best slot receiver in the class. He leads OSU all time in career yards, which I found out this year. That's crazy. That of all the greatest wide receivers that OSU's ever had, Emeka Egbuka leads all of them in yards. Kyle McCord nearly ruined his stock last year. Like, McCord killed it. absolutely murdered his stock. He had like 800 yards last year, so Emeka Egbuka had to come back. Thankfully, he came back. He won a national championship, but Kyle McCord nearly ruined his stock. He naturally finds a pocket in zone coverage to get open, and in man coverage, he has great hands. I think Emeka Egbuka is going to be a really good receiver, and if the Saints can pair him up with Chris Olave, and as you can see, I didn't realize when I did this draft how many Ohio State guys I drafted. You bring that Ohio State team over to New Orleans, which they've already been doing every year. It seems like they get Ohio State guys, and this year they cap it off. Then number 40, I'm going to grab Jahad Campbell. Jahad, you guys know I love Jahad Campbell. He's a great athletic linebacker with sideline-to-sideline speed. Last year had 80 tackles and 30 coverage stops, which was number 1 in college. That is 30 pass coverage stops, which again was number 1 in college. He doesn't let the ball get past him. I see him as Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I see a lot of JOK and Jahad Campbell. Obviously, Jahad Campbell is probably a better pass coverage, where JOK is a better run stopper, but they're both so athletic. I think they both are going to improve and get better, but that's my comp is JOK. Then number 71, grabbing Lathan Ransom from Ohio State. Ransom has gotten better and better every year. He has a great size and mobility at 6'1", 210. Good run support, can get better in coverage, I guess, but if you just want a really good run support safety, that's Lathan Ransom, and I think he can really shine with the Saints defense. Then with number 82, which you got out of the Derek Carr trade, I'm going to draft Kaimon Rucker. So Rucker, he's a great run stopper, a great pass rusher. This is a very deep edge class, so I was willing to wait to let an edge kind of fall to me in the 3rd, 4th round, knowing how deep it is, and you can get starters that deep. He did miss 5 games this year and still had really good numbers. He has 19 sacks and 86 hurries over the last 3 years, while still having a great run defending score. So Kaimon Rucker, I do think could start for the Saints day 1. He is a little short. He's 6'2", 265, but to me, that's like, if your production outweighs your height and weight, like, I care about production. I don't care about height and weight. Production wins games, not size, on a stat sheet. Then number 93, I'm going to grab Donovan Jackson. He can come in. He can compete for a starting job at guard with Austin Corbett. But at worst, Donovan Jackson can sit the bench for a year or two and is continuing to get stronger and better. He had a fantastic year at Ohio State this year. It's the only spot on the offensive line that I see eventual potential, right, is guard. You have Eric McCoy, you have Cesar Ruiz. If you sign Austin Corbett, there's not much future projection in the interior, but Donovan Jackson opens that up. He could play tackle as well, but I think he's going to play guard in the NFL. Solid at run blocking and pass blocking. He's very athletic, so I think Kamara will love running behind him at the 2nd level. I think that's why I think him as a pulling guard is where he's going to be at his best in the NFL, getting to the 2nd level and carrying those linebackers with him. Then at 110, I take a shot on a quarterback in Will Howard. He's a QB with a lot of upside, had a fantastic year, obviously won a national championship with OSU. Very smooth deep ball, a mobile pocket passer. He can kind of extend plays when the pocket breaks down. I even said he's a B+ version of Taysom Hill. So whatever you think Taysom Hill is, imagine a B+ version. You know, an A+ version is a generational player, but I think Will Howard is a B+ version. I think he can definitely compete with Zach Wilson and Spencer Rattler for that starting job. And I think there's a very high chance Will Howard wins that QB battle because I think he has a lot of upside in him. I think it'd go down to him and Zach Wilson, and whoever, throw a dart at a dartboard, who would win that job. Then with number 127, you get out of the Cam Jordan trade. I grab Kobe Hudson, another wide receiver from UCF. Kobe's a very nice route runner. I don't see him being a starter, but I do see him being a role guy as a depth piece who can come in and give you valuable minutes. I said a mixture of John Mechie and Dontavian Wicks, that 4th, 5th wide receiver that when they come in, they get like 3 catches for 80 yards. You're like, whoa, why is this guy on the bench? And the minute he starts, it's like 1 catch for 2 yards because he's getting defended by the number 1 corner. And you're like, oh, okay, that's why he's a bench piece. He can come in, give us something, solid route runner, okay deep ball. He has nice size, uses it to get leverage in the passing game. And again, this wide receiver core got decimated with injuries. So I'm investing another pick on a guy with some potential. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. It's a good size receiver that you can bet on in the 4th round. Then number 129, I had to do it. I'm grabbing Trevor Etienne. Trevor Etienne, they made this guy in the lab to be an Alvin Kamara 2.0. He's a smooth route runner, great elusiveness. He had an amazing Senior Bowl week. Like, I have all the film I saw of all the running backs, Trevor Etienne shined. He's probably going to go a lot higher than 129, but if Alvin Kamara misses time, your offense can stay stagnant and probably be the exact same as effectiveness with Trevor Etienne behind Alvin Kamara. That's your backup to Alvin Kamara and maybe even potential successor. Then at 183, given Antoine Ryland, sorry. Y'all know I love Ryland. He is a lethal pass rushing weapon. He specializes in getting to the quarterback. You know, he does overshoot in run defense to where he gets beaten a lot, but I do see him as a 2-down guy, a rotation piece year 1. But I can see him carving out a long-term career. Like, there's a lot of guys in the NFL that bounce around the league, and they specialize in pass rushing, or they specialize in run stopping. I think Antoine Ryland is the exact type of dude and the exact build I think he's gonna bounce around the NFL after his Saints tenure and just get like 5, 6, 7 sacks a year and go to his next team. 5 sacks, next team, 6 sacks, next team, 5 sacks. Just a consistent force that you can rely on. Then at number 184, grabbing Ty Robinson from Nebraska. Robinson's a good pass rushing D tackle. Not a great run defender, but he can shoot gaps when needed. My comp for him is actually Mo Hurst with a more compact body. He does use that compact body to push the offensive lineman on their heels and get to the quarterback. But again, Ty Robinson, there is a role in the NFL for pass rushing specials at D tackle. So I'm really giving up our run defending so my defensive line can get to the quarterback, because that's been an issue for the Saints. It's getting to the quarterback. So I'm investing late round flyers on, hey, if this guy hits and he gets 6 sacks his rookie year, we feel amazing at 183. But if this guy flops and only gets 1 sack or even half a sack or 0 sacks, it's 183. We don't have to worry about, the investment we made. Then at number 252 in the 7th round, I got Dalton Cooper, a tackle from OSU. God, Oklahoma State. I guess it's trying to mix it together. But he's a 6'7", 350-pound tackle. You can teach technique, but you can't teach size. He's a good pass blocker, but he's near abysmal in the run game. You maybe develop him as a swing tackle. It's a 7th round, number 252. Really good pass blocker at 6'7". Like I said, you can't teach size. Maybe you can turn him into something, or he's just a backup for his career. That's also something that you can be in the NFL, is a very big, oversized backup. Then number 255, the last pick, is I'm grabbing a 6'6" receiving tight end. He's going to be gone by round 5. I've already seen in other mock drafts now that Caden Prescorn is now a 5th round, 6th round draft pick rather than 274 as a grade. He's 14th in the college football at depth of tackle at the tight end position. He can be a good tandem guy if Juwan Johnson does return, or he can even fight for the starting job. Because again, he's a good inline receiving tight end. Can't really, stand on the outside as a slot guy, but inline receiver as a tight end, that's what Caden Prescorn can do. So yeah, that is my offseason plan for the Saints. Again, I don't know what coach they're getting, so I'm just kind of going off of vibes and what I feel they should do. So I reinvest in the wide receiver core, get 2 very young wide receivers, multiple quarterbacks. This defense gets a massive injection of young talent and high upside. You grab Trevor Etienne to be an elusive running back behind Alvin Kamara. And then when it comes to offseason, you grab Zach Wilson as a potential quarterback, Austin Corbett to shore up your offensive line, Devin Bush to replace Mario Davis as a run stopper, and Jeremy Chin to be that chess piece at secondary member. But yeah, if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post next, and please go in the description. Follow me on TikTok where I've been posting a lot. I talked a lot about that Luka Doncic trade that happened yesterday. Man, that was crazy. But please, please, please keep supporting the show. I appreciate it. The growth that we've seen, it means so much to me, guys. Like me, I'll have days where I get discouraged. I'll look at my channel like, wow, people are watching me. I need to be more encouraged. Let's go record a video. That's what really hypes me up. So if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.